Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm James from Softlex Solution. I would like to take a few minutes to start this small introduction. This is our honor to host this webinar with all of you on the topics delivering seamless omni-channel banking and workflow automation with WSO2 technology partner and Mitra innovation implementation partner. On behalf of Softlex Solution and our partner WSO2 and Mitra innovation, we would like to warmly welcome all of audience, privileged guests who make your valuable time to be here with our expert from WSO2 and Mitra innovation on how the latest technology of WSO2 could help driving digital Cambodia by 2025 journey. And to deliver seamless omni-channel banking integration and workflow automation into organizations. Before we move to our main topics and hand over to the next speaker, we also would like to sincerely express to all audience, privileged guests, as well as our partner WSO2 and Mitra Innovation, who are arranging their times to make this webinar happen today. I would like to pass over to our partner, Mitra Innovation, and WSO2 to walk with us through entire session to the last on the Q&A session. Thank you so much for your time and let's enjoy our session. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much for that introduction. Please bear with me for a second. I'm sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again for the webinar today, focusing on the topic delivering seamless omni-channel banking and workflow automation. This is one of the many events that we have lined up for the Digital Cambodia by 2025 event series. Thank you, Softlex Solutions, for helping us in collaborating and organizing this event. Thank you, WSO2 and Creatio, two of our premium technology partners, for participating in this event. Before I move on, in terms of the agenda, just to give you all some context in terms of why we chose this topic, delivering seamless omnichannel banking and workflow automation. As you all know, omnichannel banking is a concept that has been there around in the industry for some time. In today's world, our customers, your customers, are interacting with banking and financial organizations using multiple channels. They are using their mobile phones, they're using their web applications, and they're even visiting physical locations. So what this means as a business is that customer experience is not what it used to be 10 years ago. It has evolved to an extent where we need the help of technology to be able to deliver a better customer experience to our customers. So today's event will explore topics on workflow automation, integration, and how these technologies can help you all improve and optimize your experience for your customers. In terms of the agenda today, we already covered the introduction that was given by James for Softlex. I've also given a brief introduction in terms of what the context of the webinar is. We will have key speakers, Harshan Senadhira joining from Mitra, and he would speak about streamlining business processes with workflow automation. And we have Dassana from WSO2, who will share his insights on the topic delivering a seamless omnichannel banking experience. Followed by that, we will have a Q&A session. Please feel free to drop a text or a message on the chat window for any questions that you would have. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mitra Innovation is a trusted partner for secure cloud native platform engineering. We have certified professionals with a full spectrum in terms of cloud native capabilities. We also have a dedicated low-code, no-code practice where Creatio is our flagship partner in delivering low-code solutions. We also have experts in terms of being able to deliver enterprise-level integrations. We also have DevOps architects with key eye for automation. We have over 10 plus years of experience in modern cloud development, and we have done over about 100 plus projects with a footprint across 25 countries across the globe. And we do all of this that I just mentioned earlier with a security first mindset. At each and every layer, we have a security first framework approach in terms of engaging with our solutions and our customers. And our key partners are the logos that you can see over here. We closely work with Creatio, WSO2, AWS, and Azure, to name a few. And we have, and to give you an idea in terms of the key clientele that we are working with, Cambodia, we are proud to say that we have been serving organizations like Cellcard, EasyCom, Wingbank, and Manulife. During the presentation and our engagement, we'll share some insights from some of the case studies that we have worked with as well. So moving on to the topic today, before my colleague Harshan Senadhira shows you all the breadth and depth in terms of what the low-code platform is capable of, I would like to emphasize on the point that the future of financial services is geared by workflow automation. And let's just spend a few minutes to understand what this means. So basically, we are able to build workflow automation solutions on top of Creatio to be able to automate certain core functions of the banking, financial service, and insurance industry. And we have identified these four as the main business functions. We have customer relationship management, we have front office, we have middle office, and then we have corporate services. Let's just take a close look in terms of how we could build workflow automations for each of these business functions that I just mentioned earlier. So when it comes to customer experience, it's all about making digital banking more human. We know that the market and the consumers are focused in terms of consuming their services through digital medium, but we as organizations should use technology to make sure that the service that we are delivering through digital medium is more human. That way we are able to build a better customer experience with convenience. So just to highlight a few, when it comes to customer relationship management, we are able to automate the sales, marketing, and services processes, and we are able to overcome some of the common challenges that the banking and financial services industries have been facing. We are able to do this with solutions such as lead and opportunity management, campaign and event management, and solutions like case management. The benefit in return, what we have seen is that this gives an enhanced experience for our customers. And we also heavily involved in terms of taking or moving away from the traditional front office concept, where we are having a mindset of disruption for reinvention by bringing in technology or workflow solutions into the traditional front office function. So some of the key processes that we see in this particular business function is customer onboarding, accounts operations, to name a few. And we've seen that 75% to 80% of the transactional operations are what the banks have been facing right now. And up to 40% of the activities are more strategic activities. And the banks, according to McKinsey, see that these are important areas that they need to automate. So we at Mitra, together with Creatio, we have also built accelerators on top of the Creatio solution. So for an example, we have accelerators for customer onboarding with embedded KYC. I hope I'm clear in terms of that. If there's any questions so far, please do feel free to drop a message on the chat. Apart from the KYC and onboarding that I mentioned earlier, we also have solutions that cover areas from account operation management to policy management and claim settlement. Overall, what we have seen is there has been a drastic improvement in terms of the benefit for our customers, in terms of seamless front office processing, and an efficient collaboration between the team and the back office. And in terms of the middle office, the play to win strategy is what we are looking at. It's all about bringing the middle office to the front line. We just don't want the middle office function to remain in the middle or in the back-end processes of the organization, but we want those services to be able to directly engage with our customers. And some of the key processes in these areas are verification and underwriting, product catalog management, and compliance. We are able to build workflow solutions such as underwriting, unified product catalog, and also verification management, to give you all some examples. Finally, one of the benefits of the low-code platform is that it doesn't narrow you down to the traditional business processes within the organization. It also helps you automate your workflows in the corporate service and your support service function within the organization. For example, if you have key processes like human capital management, HR, internal audit management, you're able to build workflows on top of the platform that helps you with solutions or workflows like employee lifecycle management, for an example. So this way, what it does is you have one single platform that is able to deliver solutions across multiple business functions. So this way, you can maximize the investment that you have made on one platform rather than having to procure different types of platforms for different business functions. So that in brief, that is what I wanted to highlight in terms of what approach we could have for workflow automation on top of a low-code platform like Creatio for your business functions. So as a next part of this session, I would like to invite my colleague Harshan Senadhira, who is the head of product implementations. He has a colorful background of 20 years of experience in the IT industry. He has held key positions at Informatics Group, LOLC, and London Stock Exchange. He will now focus on how low-code automation can help banking and financial services organization. Harshan, the floor is to you.
Thank you very much, Usaith. Hi, everyone. All right. So in this particular scenario, I will take you through to automate one of the key processes, that is, say, customer onboarding in a bank, from the point where a customer sends a request across to maybe open an account, let's say savings account, and then including a certain KYC checks or validations, and up to the point of creating the contact or creating the account, contact and the account in the system. So for that, let me first share my screen, cut short everything, and straight away I'll go into the demonstration because we ran a little late at the beginning. So let me share my screen. Hope maybe someone can confirm whether you can see my screen. Brilliant. All right, so in this one, I will have a couple of screens. To further clarity, I will explain what these different screens are. So in this particular window, you will see the Creatio CRM, and at the same time, you will also see the landing page or customer, the landing page which customer uses in order to send the account opening request. So this is that. And then another page, which actually is being used to confirm the OTP and also my email inbox, because I'm impersonating multiple roles in this scenario. So in this scenario with the email inbox, I'm impersonating the customer. At the same time, I'll be working as maybe someone from front office, someone from back office in the bank who's actually receiving this particular request and taking this request through workflow, playing multiple roles. Essentially, this particular demo scenario is actually already integrated. So Usaith talked about doing seamless integrations with Creatio platform. So in this instance, this particular Creatio instance, what you're seeing is actually already integrated to this landing page, where I'll be using to send my information across in order to open a new account. So that, again, you might be thinking, okay, this particular implementation would have taken so long. Wrong. This implementation or this configuration was actually taken less than a day for us to configure, if not hours. You will see, because I'll be doing some sort of hands-on configurations on automating this particular workflow further real time. So then you will see how easily we can actually configure this platform or the workflow component using Creatio low-code, no-code platform. We'll begin the scenario. Now, I'm actually entering my information for, to speed things up. This is my email address, and I'm using my saved information and address, current address. This can be anything. We can customize very easily the information we are capturing. And I'll submit this request to the bank, and it actually gives a message that it will send an OTP to my email inbox. So we will refresh my email inbox. It might take a little while to appear. Right, this is actually the OTP I have received. And so as a customer, it actually tells a couple of more instructions. It actually gives the page where I have to enter the OTP. So I'll be entering to this page as well. So let me simulate that part. So I'll be copying the OTP and entering to the page with my information. I've submitted the OTP and it's acknowledged. At the same time, it actually also says, once completed, please reply to this email with your identity proof. Here, actually, I'm simulating sort of a KYC example. This actually can be a different external KYC system. We can integrate very easily to maybe, let's say, a video KYC tool, whatever the KYC tool you have, because I know for a fact that when it comes to certain products like microfinancing, you are actually going to the client, and sometimes data capturing, all that happens remotely. So if you have that kind of scenarios where the data capturing, the KYC information capturing happens remotely, we can actually integrate with such solution, and all that information can flow into the CRM for validation. I will demo that as well. So in this particular case, let me respond with I have a scanned image of my passport. I'll be sending it across to the bank. All right. Now that part is over. Now let's move on to the front office. I have actually a separate role called front officer, who will preferably receiving this particular scenario or this particular account creation request on the CRM. It'll land on the new request section. So you can see there are certain requests I have been selected. Let me also elaborate a bit about this screen or the Creatio platform. On your left-hand side, you can see multiple different options. This is what we call workspaces. So we can actually maintain or create new workspaces or manage existing workspaces. So in this particular scenario, I have a separate workspace for my bank, and new requests, contacts, and account details, activities are actually given as options. So these can be very easily customized based on the workspace requirement. On the right side panel over here, I have the communication panel. So if I expand a bit, so if this has the telephony, if there's any telephony integration with the system, we can actually use this telephony integration to call or contact customers then and there. And here, there's the email integration or the email section. This actually, already we can see the email which I responded as a customer from my personal email account is already appearing over here with the as a response to this OTP. I will show in the workflow how this email and the attachment gets appeared into this request workflow within the system itself. And this has also different communication options, chats, SMSs, and this one is actually the notifications from the system to the user and the to-do tasks. I'll show how this to-do tasks also can be used in order to make your day or make your activities more organized using Creatio system itself. All right, now I have lots of requests. From this one, I need to check what is the latest request which I received. Okay, you might say it's the one with the highest number, but in a practical scenario, you will have hundreds and thousands of records over here. You will have to maybe sort this based on some sort of a criteria. For that, you need to maybe get the support of the IT division. IT division might, in return, have to contact the vendor in order to maybe populate a new field called created on. But then again, with Creatio, you can do it by yourself. If you're a user, as I quickly went into this particular configuration window, you can change. Let's say you want to see the type of the account first. You can do that by yourself. All these are pretty easy to do to carry out by any user. A user doesn't need to have a lot of in-depth technical knowledge. And now I'm going to add another field which is not there already. It's created on. So that means the time where this particular request was created, and I'm actually adding this particular information into the screen, and I'm saving it. Bingo. You have the information where this particular request was created on. I'm going to sort it descendant, and now I can see the latest request which was created. In fact, that was a request I created by myself, including my personal information. So I'm going to open this. And when I open, I can see all the information which I have entered into the landing page. I would reiterate that landing page can be a page within your website or can be some external site. In this particular scenario, we have actually used integrated landing page. And now I'll move this particular request into review application stage manually. I stressed on the term manually because I'm planning to automate this further within my demo itself. Now it goes into the review application stage. Now, as you can see, it actually can go into other sections, other stages in the workflow, but it actually sort of prohibits because there are certain things to be completed before it moves into the other stages. All right, now I actually at the same time I told you, now in this section, there's a separate section for attaching photographs and NIC passport, whatever the verification details. Now, for that, I'll open the email which I responded as a customer, and I can see there's an attachment as well. I will bind this. There's a feature, doing it manually to make it more sense, but then again, this can be very easily automated. Now I've selected my request and I have binded this particular email with my request. So what happens? As you can see, automatically, the attachment which was there in that email is now appearing in this request. I didn't do anything apart from binding this email to the particular request. So this was automated. It also can be further automated without even doing this manually. But for clarity, I actually perform this step. But what I want to establish is we can actually automatically populate all these attachments from the email into this particular new account creation request. And if I go to the history also, it actually shows all the email communication happened with this particular request itself. Brilliant. Now, it actually tells me as a user, it reminds me, assign for checker approval. Okay. Now I'll have to assign for checker approval. At the same time, let me show you how this shows in my activity section. I told you that it has separate like a calendar, see? So imagine a scenario where you have multiple different requests to process, and this kind of organization will definitely help the front office users to attend to these different account opening requests. So this particular task, assign for checker approval, is appearing in your calendar as well. So actually, I'm now going to assign it for checker approval. I will select a checker from the system, and I will save this, and I will complete this step. And upon completion, there's some sort of automation we have configured that this will actually move into the checker approval stage. And then let me quickly log in as a checker and do the quick verification. The idea you have to get from this is it can go into multiple levels of approval as part of segregation of duties. So in this scenario, I'm showing you 3 levels of approval. It can be N or can be any number of steps, any number of roles. So here actually 2 things I need to show you. This actually shows in the to-do or the reminder section, it reminds me that there's a task to approve. And when I go into this section also, I can approve this as a checker. And you can see it automatically progress to the next level for the authorizer approval. And I'm going to now log in as the authorizer quickly and complete this new account opening request. Right. And so I'm now confirming this as a different role as the authorizer. Why I'm quickly progressing, because I need to show you some sort of configuration so that I can actually further automate this process to make it like a seamless and further automated process. Now it's actually this particular new account opening is completed. And if I go to, again, the contact section, yes, system has automatically created this contact as a customer, because this was actually taken from my request. All the information which were there were actually taken, email address, the phone numbers, all of that. And at the same time, if we go to the account details, it has actually created a new account, and you can actually assign this assign a branch or do whatever the additional steps you need to take, and this can actually forward or push it to your core banking system with integrations very easily. Now let's see. Now there are a couple of stages. For instance, assigning the checker and transferring for checker approval. I've done manually. So let's see. Now I'm going to log in to the instance as a supervisor. Now in this particular instance, I'm impersonating a supervisor, and I have actually logged in as a supervisor, and I'm going to customize this particular section. Now let's go to set up section cases. I'm going to do some configuration real time. Again, I'm not that technical. I used to be technical, as it said maybe about 20, 22 years ago, but not anymore. I've forgotten all these programming languages, all of that. But this bit is pretty easy and straightforward. Let me automate with one example, that is assigning a checker for this particular request. Now I can, this is actually the workflow configuration in this in Creation low-code, no-code platform. This is the workflow which you have seen. I have function. This is where the workflow is configured, and under each of these steps you can actually have multiple sub steps. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a sub step of opening an edit page, and I'm going to name this assign a checker, someone who's going to check this particular record. And I'm going to do it before moving this to check approval. And this is, it asks which page to open. Obviously, it's my the request page, and user will be performing that. And editing mode, I'm going to say edit existing record. And I'm going to pick the record ID because that's a primary field of this one. And I'm going to do another change. That is, I'm going to make it a required step. That means without completing this particular step, you will not be able to progress to the next stage. That is, without assigning a checker for this particular record, you will not be able to progress. And I can even make it show in the calendar. That's how the activity shows in the calendar, as I showed. And I would say after the previous step is completed, but I'm going to remove this step as well, because after this, we don't need. I'm going to fully automate this one. I would say when it's element considered complete, if the record matches condition. Now I'm going to do one thing in advance. Once a user completes or edited the record, I'm going to check the record to see whether there's a checker assigned. If a checker is not assigned, I will not allow the system to progress. Now I'm going to check whether the checker is filled in. If this particular condition is matching, then system will allow the record to progress to the next stage. All right. And at the same time, I'll do a small another modification. I'll go to the main step of this particular workflow, review application stage. I'm going to say transition. You can see automatic transition next case stage. This is how this workflow automation is done based on certain conditions. So I'm going to instruct the system, if all steps are completed, then move the workflow into the next stage. Now I'm going to save this. It'll take a little time to save and populate all of the configuration. It does a lot of things in the behind because I didn't do any advanced coding here. Everything is like drag and drop, clicking, configuring, and it actually populates everything. Done. And now it's ready for us to progress, and we'll see how this automation works. So let me again log off and log in as maybe as the front office user. I'll pick an existing record to cut short time. Maybe I'll pick another record which was already in new stage, where verification is success, because OTP has to be successful. OTP has to be successfully verified. So I picked the record, and I'm going to move into the review application stage. Now, This was not there earlier. Now it says assign a checker. It tells me to assign a checker. I'm trying to complete this without assigning a checker. No, it won't allow me to complete. I have to assign a checker. Now I'm going to assign the same checker, just like in the previous scenario, and save the record. Rest happened automatically. The task got completed automatically. Task was created, completed automatically, and it had automatically moved into the checker approval stage. You saw how easily we could actually avoid many steps, and the moment the particular checker officer was assigned, record progressed automatically as per the configuration I did. It took only literally 5-10 minutes, not more than that. That is the power of this tool I'm sharing with all of you. If you have, say, if you want to automate your workflows further, you can actually do such refinements into the workflow without even getting the consultancy from anyone technical. Even if there are authorized business users who can actually do these workflow modifications, they themselves can actually refine and improve your workflow. And we call this like the citizen developer concept. So if there are able citizen developers in your bank, the idea is actually either the business department or maybe the worst case, your IT department should be able to configure this further without going into another third party. All right, at the same time, I had one more scenario to share with you, that is the dashboarding capabilities of the platform. In this demo, I'm only sharing the capabilities in terms of workflow automation, but Creation low-code, no-code platform has a lot more capabilities on top of being a very strong CRM. We can actually develop tailor-made solutions also on top of this using low-code, no-code capabilities. That might require some sort of additional developments or trainings to develop different solutions. But as you have seen already, it's fairly easy. Let's say I'll take a scenario where I'm going to use the admin login for this particular one because I'm going to create a dashboard for this. And I need to see the status of all the requests in different stages, let's say. So I'm going to edit this dashboard and I'm going to introduce a new, let's say, a chart. And I'm going to configure this chart. Okay, let's say stage-wise analysis of account opening requests, right? And I'm going to select the same object, the request object, requests, and going to select as a pie chart. Let's see how it's going to work. And I'm going to select the status. Brilliant. So there are 2 new cases. There are 3 for checker approval. There are 4 completed ones. And I'm going to save my chart. And let's change the height of this one to make it look nice. In a minute, you have your graph. So if you're a user, you should be able to build the business insights or the business intelligence you want using these dashboards. And as you can see, a lot of things can be done. This is a very short demo I wanted to share with all of you. But then again, I think in the future, Usaith will share with you. We'll be picking maybe a couple of, if you have any use cases as a challenge for us to automate and show you, maybe within a span of a couple of days, we are ready to take that challenge. And that offer will be open. Maybe my colleagues will talk about that offer in detail at after the key sessions within this one. And if we get that kind of new business use cases, we can automate, we can implement, and maybe use as a proof of concept if there are any interested parties in this audience. Maybe if you have any questions, you can actually send across in the chat section, or maybe you can ask me at the end of the session. There will be a separate Q&A session. Usaith, over to you.
Thank you, Harshan. Thank you so much. The demo was very comprehensive indeed. Just to re-emphasize the whole point of doing this, ladies and gentlemen, the reason is we wanted to show you all the breadth and depth and the capability of the low-code platform. We can even automate something as simple as a communication workflow. Like, for example, let's say you all have multiple branches or multiple business units. And at the end of the month, the finance department is required to do a report on their P&L. and you'll need to send out an email communication asking them for these documents, tracking them, and they have to upload the certain documents to a certain location. Even something as simple as that can be automated on Creatio. For example, let's take your IT department for an example, and you might have multiple ongoing projects. You all can automate that entire project management workflow on the low-code platform by categorizing various projects, having the timelines and various parameters. Or let's say, for an example, you might have multiple branches, and there might be an admin or operational component where you all might have to send monthly supplies of stationery or checkbooks or something like that. That entire workflow can also be configured. So the key important takeaway from this demonstration is there is no limit in terms of what kind of a workflow or what type of a workflow, in despite of the complexity that can be automated. So as Harshan said earlier, please feel free to speak to us after this event, or please drop your questions. We'll be far more than happy to do a customized demo for your business scenario. We are on time and moving on to the next session. We have Dassana Wijesekara, Head of Solution Architecture for the Financial Solution and Open Banking at WSO2. A brief profile on Dassana. He is an enterprise software architect and a technology evangelist with 17 years of experience in scalable enterprise systems. He also advises CXOs, architects, and government organizations in multiple industries, including BFSI, telecom, retail, supply chain, and education. Today, Dassana will talk more about how future-ready banking fit for the age of personalized customer experience and how this enables omnichannel banking further. Dassana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Usaith. I would like to warmly welcome all of you to the second session of Digital Cambodia by 2025 webinar. So on this episode, what I would like to do is I would like to emphasize the fact that the ability to personalize the experience, the customer experience, and augment that experience is the key for competition in especially in BFSI domain. And I will be covering the key elements behind that, and as well as how do you build a platform which provides you that augmented experience. Let me share my screen. So we're looking at delivering a seamless experience across multiple channels and how we would augment that experience. So when it comes to, if you look at the millennials and Generation Z, the young generation, they are looking at, or they wanted to have that the personalized experience. They don't want to have the standard interfaces on the mobile or the web, or going into a kiosk or going into a brick and mortar bank. So the banks or the financial institutions should be able to provide that very specific personalized experience to their customers. They should be able to build themselves as their personal wealth advisors or the financial advisors. So the bank should be able to derive information and provide wisdom to these customers in a personalized way. So that's the future of the banking. And not only that, it is expected from the banks that they should not remain within the banking domain. They should walk into other domains and build attractive offers or the products to these young generation. So if you look at the key elements of providing that personalized experience, we can observe that there are 4 elements or 4 building blocks when it comes to creating this personalized experience. The first element or the building block is ability to create real-time interaction with the customer. So you should be able to provide them real-time information about their account, real-time status of your payments, or any other transactions that the customer has made. It has to be real-time, within seconds. The current status has to be provided to whatever the channel the customer is using. And not only that, whatever the real-time data profile or the status or the information that you provide has to be consistent across all the experience channels, whether it is mobile, whether it is web, or whether it is kiosk or front desk. And the way that you represent these real-time information or real-time information should be rich and should have correct infograph within your experience channel. That's the first element. And the second element is, how good are you in deriving insight on your data? If you look at banks, they sit on large number of raw data, starting from accounts to transactions, payments, payees, and you name it, right? So banks are sitting on a treasure trove with regards to data. So how fast and how good you can turn the data into information and then to wisdom is the key. So you should have tools and technologies or a platform which can, gather this data in real time and produce insight and share that with your customers. And when you're sharing that insights, those insights has to be personalized and relevant. Relevancy is very important. The third important element of this puzzle is the ecosystem, because banks cannot exist or compete within this agile, the competitive environment alone. You need to build an ecosystem around you. And the other thing is, the traditional banking doesn't win your competition. So you should be able to build products. It can be a loan product, it can be a digital banking product, it can be a card. You need to build a product that spans across multiple domains. Like, you can bundle travel offers into your account opening workflows, right? If you open this account and keep this balance, there will be an offer. And if you are applying for a loan, let's say housing loan, how do we can bundle contractors, the building material suppliers, the lawyers? How do you provide that package, right? So when someone buys a home loan, they are only going to get that loan from the bank, but that it doesn't provide that stickiness. So you need to look at the big picture. The customer is going to build a house, right? So as a bank, you should look at how you can enable that use case or the requirement and provide additional capabilities within your banking product. So in order to do that, you need to bring in your third-party suppliers, third-party partners. If you are a banking group, you might be looking at partners who are co-selling or reselling your products. So in order to enable that ecosystem, your platform or the tool should be able to easily integrate into their B2B systems. Or B2C, you should be able to enable that B2C interactions. So ecosystem is important. If you can build a rich ecosystem around you, you can easily with your other competitors. Then the last element is culture. Like, are you having that agile, innovative culture within your bank, within your organization? You might have the best tools in the world, you might have the best technologies in the world, but still, these are designed and implemented by humans, right? So you need to have that culture built within your bank or the organization in order to come up with that personalized experience. So these are the 4 key elements that that is required. Now let's look at how you improve the liveness of the customer engagement. So if you look at bringing that liveness or real-timeness into your customer interactions, it is important that you have a platform which can provide those real-time protocols or real-time engagement channels. So if you look at engagement channels as like, portals, mobiles, and kiosks, the current generation of mobile applications or rich internet applications need a real-time integration capability. It can come as, server-sent events or push notifications, async APIs, WebSockets and webhooks. So different application might use different protocols. And when you step out of your internal network, when you're going out of the network into partners and other ecosystem elements, they might require different types of protocol. So you should have a API gateway which hosts these different types of synchronous and asynchronous interactions. And that API gateway has to be modular. So you can plug in additional capabilities when required. And it has to be in a way that you will be sending the same data set in different protocols, and it can allow to have that seamless omni-channel experience. So WSO2 as a product vendor, we provide a fully featured API gateway which supports these kind of different protocols in a single runtime, and it can support different engagement channels. So if you look at a reference architecture which enables this real-time event-driven experience, what we are proposing is like you will have a set of engagement channels, and these engagement channels are based on set of experience services. So the actual logic remains within experience services. These experience services are deployed on a container which can scale automatically or natively, and they will work with a message broker infrastructure, subscribing into these messages. And business services can, publish those messages into message broker. So it provides the asynchronous architecture. And between experience services and engagement channels, you can have, asynchronous APIs being established. This is kind of a reference architecture that enables that real-time interaction with these engagement channels. If you move further, if you go into the second element or the second building block of the personalized experience platform, how do you derive these insights from the data that you have, right? So earlier I said that banks are sitting on a treasure trove with a lot of data being accumulated within the banks. Now let's look at how we would derive these insights, right? So the first thing is, so you have set of data sources within your organization. It can be credit, debit card transactions, it can be payments, it can be other banks, especially coming from open banking specifications from other banks. And you should be able to, you should have a platform or tools that can cleanse, categorize, and enrich that data, because we can't use raw data as it is. Once you cleanse and categorize and have the relevant correlation IDs on those data, you can move that to a streaming analytics engine and establish a set of machine learning policies, and you can derive insights out of this data. These insights can be used to provide personalized insights and advice. We can use them to provide, identify opportunities and recommend, say, investment options to the customers. This will enhance the trust and deepens the relationship with the customer and the bank. So it increases the stickiness of the customer to the organization. So this is again the reference architecture for user-facing analytics. And again, we can use a event-driven architecture to get that data, and we can have a low latency distributed analytics system to rapidly analyze data and produce insight and push that to a data dashboard. So it can be your own personal dashboard, which shows you the financial, the information that you want to see. So again, this is based on an event-driven system, and WS2 building blocks provide this capability. Now let's look at how we would enhance our ecosystem, right? So we want to we want to build multiple capabilities within our ecosystem, or we want to build multiple products or offerings. So in order to build that multiple products or offerings, we cannot do it alone. The quickest way is to get partners, capabilities, and build that product. So we can do it by building our ecosystem. So if you look at how we would build an ecosystem, is we need to have that agile and assembly layer and the plug and play capability to bring in, the ecosystem players. These players can come as subsidiaries, they can come as regulators, it can be a third party, or it can be a fintech. So the ability to integrate with different B2B systems and how fast you can do it defines how best you will build your ecosystem. And this will allow you to walk out of the traditional banking boundary, and you can bring, or you can build partners from, travel and hospitality, property, education, retail, and things like that. So it will allow you to partner with other industries and build products and offers within the bank. Bank provides that trust and the reliability, partners bringing different flavors into the mix. So you need to have that agile plug and play layer on your platform, which enables you to create that personalized experience, personalized packages, products to your customer. And the last building block is basically how do you rewire your organization, or how do you improve your culture within your organization for this digital innovation, or how the notion of improving the customer experience to have that personalized experience. So if you look at how we would do that, so we need to build this agile innovation culture. In order to build that innovation within your teams, you need to have a platform which allow them to, innovate or do research, do POCs, do different things, right? So it's the best way of building that kind of platform is to have it make it cloud native, and make it build lightweight containers, and build these things on open standards. And we need to try to automate most of the unnecessary or the work that does not contribute in your innovation, like, we should build continuous integration, continuous deployment, test automations, and by doing that, you will provide that valuable time for innovation. You take away unnecessary routine activities out of your developers. So this will allow continuous innovation, because you can assemble new experiments into the platform and remove it. So we provide that freedom on the platform. We nurture these developers or the engineers to think different. at the end, what you get is you get new products or new offers or getting new insight out of the data into the market. So we need to nurture that agility and innovation culture within your organization. So these are the key elements of when you want to build a personalized experience, or you want to augment the experience that you provide to customers. So if you combine all of these building blocks into one platform, you will see kind of complete reference architecture like this. So we have experience channels. It can be the systems that are provided to the teller on the branch. It can be the mobile application, the web, POS systems, or IoT devices, and maybe the kiosks. So they operate in different runtime environment, and they have different capabilities at the edge. So you need to have that edge external gateway which supports these different kind of experience channels. And you need to have a customer identity and access management capability surrounding these services, because identity is important and the security is important. Then comes the experience services, set of microservices mesh which supports or contains the logic for experience channels. And then you have the distributed messaging infrastructure which enables asynchronous interactions between experience services and core business services. And on the side, you have that analytical capability sitting in, getting all the events or data from these different interactions. The core services network or the core services components will interact with core banking systems and get the information, like the payment systems, cards, and the ledger and KYC and things like that. And the external gateway interacts with B2B endpoints as well. So it works. It creates set of B2B proxies within the external API gateway and interacts with partners, third parties, regulators, subsidiaries, and other content providers. So this provides the full picture of the complete reference architecture, which enables providing personalized experience to your customers. And WSO2 provides the tools and technologies to build that edge gateway, the CIM platform or the layer, and as well as the experience services and core services framework. So WSO2 products comes in different flavors. They can be deployed in on-premise networks. It can be deployed on cloud, and they work in hybrid cloud environments as well. These are micro runtimes, so you can deploy on a microservices architecture as well. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to complete within this session. So if you have any questions, you can send or put that on the chat, or you can take it up on the Q&A session that will happen next. I hope the content was useful, and thank you. Over to you, Usaith.
Thank you, Dassana. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe now we have the Q&A session. I believe now is the time where you all can start typing us your questions. We have a question at the moment. I believe it's, I think Harshan, you're the right person to answer this question. On the workflow automation use case we were demonstrating earlier, if it's fully KYC enabled.
Well, as I explained, it can be integrated to a KYC solution if you have already, but at the same time, we can actually build like a low-code, no-code solution to make it fully KYC compatible. I actually showed one scenario of sending a passport and validating that, but at the same time, as I said, we can build something because it's a low-code platform, and we can build anything, literally anything on top of that.
Thanks, Harshan. We have another question as well. The question is, how would you build an agile layer in front of a mainframe system that we often find in banks? I think, Dassana, this is the question for you.
Yep. So yeah, if you look at mainframe systems like, AS400, IBM, is it series systems or CBEL systems? They are very reliant systems. Most of the banks still use them. They do work. So if you want to build agile layer, so first of all, like, why do we want to build an agile layer, right? So because these systems are not scalable, and it's hard to provide a real-time interaction directly onto these systems. So, but it manages a lot of data. The most of the ledger, like the core banking systems, are on these systems. So what you do is you build a adaptation layer or set of adapters in front of these core banking systems or the legacy systems, and make that data available. Sometimes you might need to build a data lake as well. And because you can't perform real-time interaction, so you need to build that data lake in front of the these legacy systems, and then build your agile layer, which would interact with the data lake. So that's the model that I have seen, or I have implemented in different banking organizations. Sometimes you come across foreign banks or banking organization which has multiple foreign entities or branches. And then what you do is you need to look at, building that adaptation layer in multiple geographies and having a centralized synchronization layer to get that data exchanged. And of course, we can build that. The rest of the layers is easy, because once you have that adapter or the agile adapters in place, you can build the interaction into the the experience channels. So the key element are the adapters and the probably the data lake.
Thanks, Dassana. That was insightful. Harshan, this is a question from me. Basically, I believe this should be something that should be in the audience, in their minds. I mean, given the audience who are on the call, I'm sure they already have experience in terms of dealing with traditional software development methodologies and approaches. I mean, how would low-code platforms differ from these traditional approaches for the banking industry? What are your thoughts on that, Harshan?
Oh, a long question, and I think this may be an opening for me to give a detailed answer as well, but I'll cut short due to the time limitations. The key difference is something you have seen. Actually, during the demo also, I actually showed how easily certain things can be implemented. So that itself shows the difference and the contrast between conventional or traditional software development practices versus low code, no code. The main difference, I would say, now in traditional software development, what we have is we have multiple layers. Like we have someone who's gathering requirements, someone who's talking to the business users, documenting, passing it on to the developers, and that there can be communication gaps, there can be differences in understanding requirements, and finally someone has to verify. So it's lengthy. But here, the breakthrough is that we are actually enabling the business users. Certain things, when it comes to a lot of configuration, say adding fields to configuring workflows, and a lot of components can be customized or configured by the business users or the citizen developers. That actually can cut a lot of communication gaps, lots of differences in understanding, because they themselves can do certain implementation. That's the key differentiator, and that actually also not only it'll impact the end product. That means the end product will be of higher quality. And at the same time, the time to market. Let's say one of the key challenges, especially the banks and any industry, there's huge competition in the market. So what you do is you respond to the market demand. You come up with new products, you come up with new processes, you improve your processes, and all of that, it takes time for you to implement, because you have to get to a third-party vendor, you need to get the systems developed and all of that. But this reduction or reducing of the time to develop can actually result in reducing your time to market as well. So your go-to-market will be extremely faster. You'll be extremely agile and responsive to the market. So that those are the benefits, if I may contrast low-code, no-code approaches or low-code, no-code platforms with conventional software development.
Brilliant, Harshan. I think that's, quite relevant given the COVID-19 context and the post-pandemic. The speed to go to market is something that is really important. Before we wrap up, we are able to take another one or two questions. I think we have a question on WSO2. Dassana, this is for you. The WSO2 ESB supports ISO 8583 and ISO 2001.
Yes, the direct answer is yes. We do support ISO 8583 and ISO 2001 related to card transactions. And since the name ESB was mentioned, just want to highlight the fact that we are the product is called Enterprise Integrator now. It's no longer called ESB. The ESB is old school. So the Enterprise Integrator supports these two specifications. Yes.
Thanks, Dassana. Before we wrap up, we have one last question. I think Dassana, this is ideal for you as well. When moving into other domains, are there any compliance restrictions?
Yes, there are. So when you say moving to other domains, I think the question is coming from because I was mentioning that you should build products, or offers, going into other domains like travel and all of that. Yes, that's correct. We need to look at different specifications and data sharing standards on their domains as well. Because if you look at travel, right? Travel, when it comes to travel domain, they gather the location preferences, the meal types, the events that people are visiting, whether the family is traveling or it's an individual traveler, that kind of information, which is sensitive. And we need to comply with those, privacy and, security standards governed by those domains. But fortunately, if you look at across these domains, banks and healthcare industry has most stringent data sharing or security specifications or industry specifications. So usually what happens is when you implement your applications or system, you build your system against banking regulations, it's on the higher order. So you will be able to support other industry specification. That's what I have seen. Yeah, so we are able to extend into those specifications by extending existing regulatory frameworks within the platform. Yeah.
Thank you, Dassana. There is another message and another question as well. I think it's again for you. If it's possible, if you can share significant features, points as the strength of WSO2 in comparison to other ESB or integration tools like Oracle or Fiorano.
Okay. Yeah, so now what WSO2 provides is a platform because WSO2 has multiple products, not only integration, we have API capability and identity and access management capability. So you can start your journey, let's say with APIs, and then build an integration capability behind APIs, and you can bring in identity. So the WSO2 platform provides that architectural evolution because when you hop through different products or different runtimes, they provide the same developer experience. So you may start with creating APIs and publishing them, then you wire them into your backend services or third-party B2B systems using integration, and you bring in identity to manage your users, internal users, external users, maybe systems as users. So the WSO2 provide that, natural architectural evolution. And the other thing is WSO2 products are open source. So it is backed by large community. There's no community product and say open source product. We have one product and we make that available under Apache 2 open source license. So you can play with the product. There's no restrictions in using the product. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, the community is big. So a lot of people are using WSO2 and sharing their experiences publicly on the cloud or rather internet. And the other thing is, so we have the product that we have can be deployed on, so it's like the Java term, deploy anywhere. So we support on-premise deploy on the cloud, the hybrid cloud. You can deploy it on devices as well. So it supports multiple deployment options. And we have two new products like Escardio and Choreo. These are complete digital platform as a service on the cloud. When I say digital platform as a service, it bundles the integration product, the tooling, the developer experience, the CI/CD, the testing, and everything into one platform. So you don't need to step outside of the platform to develop something. Yeah, those are the kind of product platform that we have and how we differentiate ourselves from other competitors in the market.
Thanks, Dassana. Thank you so much for those insights. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe keeping on time, this has been an eventful webinar. We've had about 50 plus participants joining this event. Thank you, Dassana. Thank you, Harshan. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and valuable inputs in terms of the solutions for our customers. Before we wrap up, we have 3 important messages to you. Number 1, we will make sure that we share this video recording along with the slides to you all after this event. And secondly, we have an ongoing promotion for our customers who are a part of this session. We are willing to do a 2-day assessment for the first 3 customers who approach us, which would also include a POC on the Creatio low-code platform as well for your business scenario. And the third being Digital Cambodia by 2025 is one of our flagship events and strategic activity. As a part of that initiative, on the March 28th, we will be visiting Cambodia physically for another flagship event. And we hope to see all of you all at that event. Until then, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you all and sharing our thoughts. Have a nice day.